What's up, guys? Today I'm showing you why I don't use box jumps. It's a question I get every day, and I don't want it to be like, oh, don't do this or don't do that. I just want to show you why I don't use them. First thing, there's not much bad about them. I'm going to detail why I don't use them. There's not much bad about them. The only thing I find bad about them is the chance of injury. I still have, I think you can see, look at that. I still have a scar from hitting my shin on box jump. That's reason enough for me not to do something. So a box jump, jumping up onto it, is an expression of power, but for me, it didn't make me a freak athlete. I spent years on box jumps, still had a 19-inch vertical, still went through all my knee surgeries. It just didn't transform me. I like safe failure, meaning I like to do something that if I go too far, I only get healthier by going too far, not that it risks injury. And with a box jump, you just jump up onto it. You don't land. So you have expression of power. A box jump expresses your power, and that's awesome. But for me, the guy with shitty genetics, can I say that on YouTube?
Yeah.
Hopefully. All right. For me, the guy with shitty genetics, it didn't cause me to adapt and become the athlete I wanted to be. So my friends who were more athletic than me could express themselves on a box jump. I could express myself. It didn't cause me to adapt. If you look at a landing, so now this, instead of a box jump, this would be a depth jump. Look at the rim in relation to my head. If I'm 6'1", that means it takes 47 inches to get to the rim, which I've measured exactly 10 feet. Now watch how much higher this is, okay? That's way more force than I'll ever get from jumping on my own. That would be an example of something that would cause adaptation. But there's two problems with the depth jump, which is why I don't use a depth jump. A depth jump lacks skill and it lacks balance. And what I mean by that is that when you do a depth jump, you're most likely to have one knee start to hurt or one Achilles start to hurt. Unless you're perfectly balanced, which is super rare for athletes, something is probably going to start hurting. But I have a way around that, which I'll get to later. And then there's the skill. I'm looking at the workload, okay? If I take my basketball and now, of course, properly warmed up, I'm working on dunking. Here, I can express my power, but I have to coordinate my dribble. This takes practice, coordinating this stuff, so I can express my power while working my skill. And let's dive into this deeper. If I'm adding depth jumps on top of my basketball, and now I don't have the energy, or my knees are hurting, or whatever, if I'm too tired, I don't have my explosiveness to work on my dunking, I can't work my skill. Let's take a look at this. You ever see Dwayne Wade get those spin moves from baseline and throw down the dunk? That was a lot of skill because his foot didn't just plant right there. His foot, go ahead and watch in slow-mo, would extend past and then push out. That takes some freaking practice. So instead of doing box jumps or whatever, I'm working on the court, boom, working that skill. And that brings me to the landing. If you go watch back what I just did, one leg hits the ground first. People will see me do a dunk or something and say, oh, that's bad landing technique, you should land on two legs. Well, Michael, oh shit, can I say
You can say whatever, I can bleep it later.
All right. Michael Jordan didn't always land on two legs because often you're like this, and the leg that's farthest, look, right here, I'm gonna end up landing that leg first. So, was that the ball? So, you then have the landing. So if you're thinking about, maybe, I'll do another depth jump. Maybe this is a lot of force on my legs, but if you actually do the math, it's just as much force doing a dunk because of the fact that you're most likely to land one leg first. And now talk about skill and talk about balance in your body. How about making myself now have to dunk with my left hand and dunk right leg first? Not to mention I could be working an extended step. Look at that right leg first. So this is for a basketball player. Screw any jumping other than mastering your dunking. You've got 20 basic in-game dunks alone, and you'll rarely see a player with more than 4 or 5 of them, yet Kobe would do all of them. So if we go back to our board, dunk balance and landing balance by getting good at our skill of dunking with either side, because it can come down one leg first. Now a two-leg jump is gonna be, or two-hand dunks can be a two-leg land, but a one-hand dunk is usually gonna be a one-leg land first. We're getting all the force of depth jumps to adapt while getting skilled, while expressing our power and all this stuff. And we're reducing excess workload that's not directly making us better at our sport. So if you're watching this though, and you're like, well, I don't play basketball, here's a couple solutions. The first is really cool, but it doesn't exactly have a good measurable. And that's if you, rather than a depth jump, if you take something you can jump yourself and then try to spring back, you can simulate all that force while rebalancing your muscles. That would be an example of a 2 up, 1 down depth jump. 2 legs up, 1 leg down. But you can't get a good measurement. So I'm gonna have you take a look at the lines on the carpet here. These white lines are 10 feet apart. I find that even your worst genetic athlete, like someone like me, can get through simple progression to bounding 10 feet per step with only a 10-foot lead in. But here's what's interesting. You can rebalance your body with proper bounding because you can balance landing heel first, which you need through a lot of sport activity, or you can bound landing ball of the foot first. And you can do it 2 legs at a time or 1 leg at a time. So I'll try to run through an example of all 6 to standard as an example of expressing my force, measuring my force, and balancing my force. So if you play basketball, I think this is overkill. If you don't play basketball, pretty cool. Let's try a basic one. Boom, boom, boom. All right, that was a basic heel toe bound, and you can see by the end I was getting my 10 feet per step. Now I'll do the same thing on the ball of my foot. So now I'm trying not to let my heel touch. What this does is it helps you rebalance between gluteal tendon and Achilles tendon. When you land heel first, you're not engaging the Achilles tendon, but you're engaging more gluteal tendon. When you land toe first, you can't use gluteal tendon as much. You use a lot more Achilles tendon. So, bounding balance here, expressing, measuring, and balancing. But when that gets easy for either style, then you start working 1 leg at a time. Now you can rebalance your legs, both between heel toe and toe heel. So I'll show you a right leg heel toe. All right leg. All right leg heel toe. So I would want to get that as good right leg or left leg, and then I'll show you left leg on the ball of my foot for an example. Left leg, ball of foot. So, unlike a box jump, what I'm doing with these different methods for basketball or for non-basketball is I'm getting honest training. Everything I do, if I get better at it in training, it has to make me better and more protected in my sport. Otherwise, it's just out for me. I'm not keeping it. And that is why I stay in the trenches. I live in the trench. I wake up each morning to go into the trenches to figure out truth. Truth should be something you can observe. So you'll never see me debate or try to argue my point or try to justify myself in the past if I was wrong. There's no ego involved for me. It's about waking up each morning, going into the trenches, and discovering truth. The truth either works or it doesn't. And that's why for me, things have to be measurable in a way that makes me better on the court. Last thing, be safe, because in giving you the honesty of all this, I'm only doing this on top of muscles that I'm training with Knee Ability for Life. And damn straight, I'm gonna use every opportunity to advertise my style of physical training. My style of physical training trains muscles that no one else is taking to failure. It gives you measurements for things no one else has had measurements for. I've invented or innovated almost every movement that I use, and it all adds up to over 1,000 people having knee pain results. I don't address a condition. Whatever the condition of the body is, I'm not a doctor. Legally, I can't address that. But no program in history has over 1,000 unasked for knee pain results. These are people who've had tons of surgeries, or just Osgood-Schlatter, or tendinitis, or tendinosis, or all sorts of things. So I'll never miss an opportunity to promote my product because it's helped more knees than any other solution for people. And it's $49.50 a month with anytime cancellation and your own form coach on every movement, plus the moment you sign up, the very first thing on the welcome page is a link to my life's work, Knee Ability for Life. 7 pages, 61 videos totaling over 4 hours, teaching you everything that I know. So I hope this video helped you understand why I don't use box jumps. I actually don't have anything against the box jump other than the risk of shin injury by hitting the box. But for all these reasons, I found better results. And therefore, in my program, I cannot use box jumps. Thank you guys for watching.